Ooh. Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your girl Cherrell. I'm the host of Let's Talk, and this ain't a podcast. I want to thank you guys for tuning in with us this Tuesday, as you guys do every Tuesday. I'm super excited. We have a very, very exciting episode for you guys today. So I'm gonna let you guys file in just for a little bit here, and then we are going to get this started. As usual, you guys know that I'm really big on being grateful. So you guys know the routine. Drop something in my comment section that you are grateful for, and I will kick it off actually. Let's see here. Okay. So let's see here. Perfect. So I'll kick it off. What am I grateful for today? I don't know what I'm grateful for. I'm grateful for, I know I've probably said I'm grateful for this before, but I'm grateful for clarity. Last night before I went to bed, I just, talked to myself and kind of really got some understanding about what's going on. And so I think I'm really grateful for clarity today. But we are going to be joined by the Butcher. So bear with us here a few minutes. Let's get her on here, guys. My hair look huge, bro. This is crazy.
Hi.
Hi. Hello. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm well. Thank you for asking. I'm so happy to meet you, and I'm so happy you took the time out to come and talk to me today.
Nice to meet you too.
Okay, so the routine is when you get on the show, you got to tell us something that you're grateful for. So what's something that you're grateful for?
Okay. I'm grateful for my family and close friends.
I can dig that. I am super grateful for my family, depending on the day.
Yeah.
I don't know how much I be loving them sometimes. And close friends, I'm definitely grateful for my close friends. Hey, everybody, you got some thumbs up. You got some people coming in for you today. I see you. Okay, so we're going to jump right into it. So tell me, how do you like to be addressed? Do you like to be called the Butcher? Would you rather me call you Krissy?
I mean, it doesn't really matter to me. Krissy is usually the preferred, but a lot of people call me the Butcher because, I mean, that's been my tattoo name for 12 years now, so that's more than a decade.
What?
Yeah.
12 years in the game. We're gonna talk about that too. So we're gonna call you Krissy today. So first off, short story. So before I had ever knew about you, I was in college. Oh, I feel like I'm old. I was in college 5 or 6 years ago. Sounds like such a long time ago. I was in college like 5 or 6 years ago, and my friends were like, "Yeah, we're going to. I'm trying to get an appointment with the Butcher," and I'm like, "Who is that? Why are you going to them?" And he was like, "Man, she cold. She cold." I'm like, "It's a girl." He's like, "Yeah." And ever since then, I was like the Butcher. And then I think I found you on social media recently, and I was like, "Oh my gosh!" And I was like, "Dude, she is so good." Let me tell you, I don't even know if you knew how big you were, but back in OU 5 or 6 years ago, my friends were so excited to get. I don't even know if they even got the tattoo. I just knew that they were like trying to get an appointment with you, and they were so excited.
Right. Where was I tattooing? I'm trying to think of where I was tattooing at that long ago.
I don't know.
I was probably in Greenfield Plaza at that time, 5 or 6 years ago.
That sounds. I think maybe they said something about that, but they were so excited, and I'm like, "Y'all going to that place?" And they were geeked, and I see why, because your work is phenomenal. Your work is fire.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So let's talk about the young Krissy. The young Krissy growing up. Where did tattoo come in growing up? Was that like in high school, or how did that?
So tattooing came along the second year of college for me. I was always into art as a kid, and as long as I can remember it. So tattooing, honestly, it's not something that I planned on doing, but the lifestyle kind of just found me, and once I was in there, like, I was hooked. So yeah, around like the second year of college, I kind of got introduced to the whole scene, and as soon as I started tattooing, I was hooked. So I knew that this was going to be a long-term career for me.
That's dope. Not many people, get a taste of something and be like, "This is it. I'm running with it." But I did read somewhere that you're really big on art programs for the youth in school. Mm-hmm. What was that like for you? What was art growing up? For like, did you like to paint? What was your preferred method of art growing up?
So growing up, I like to do any form of art that I could get my hands on. I would say I really got serious about art into high school because we took an advanced. I took an advanced art class, and then I was really close to my art teacher, so she had us doing everything from like sketching, charcoal,
I remember
acrylic
that.
and oil paint, all types of art forms I was doing. And so I was so obsessed with art that she would give me the key to the art studio, and
What?
so she would just like, because I would be in there like from the time school got out at like 3:30 until nighttime, until like 8, and she was just like just turning the key to the principal in the morning. And yeah, I would do that every day, so I was always in the studio somehow.
Wow.
So in my adult life, when I got into tattooing, being in the tattoo studio was nothing foreign to me, because we have to be there for, I mean, 6 to 12 hours a day. So I mean, that's
Right.
just something that's like natural to me. So
Wow, that's dope. That's dope that somebody saw that in you and
oh,
trusted you enough to, just to invest in you. That's really dope. So you growing up, you said you didn't get into it until college. Tell me about your first time picking up a tattoo gun.
so the first time, I tell the story all the time, but a local artist, Lady L, who I actually travel with on tour now. I was just like, when I first started, I was trying to find somebody to like give me a chance, because they weren't giving a lot of women chances to tattoo
Right.
back then. So I found her. I think I saw a picture of her on Facebook, and I was like, dang, she is fly. Like I need to connect with her. So I ended up hitting her up, and I was like, I mean, can I just watch you tattoo? She was like, yeah, I got a tattoo party. Just come on by. So I came by, brought a couple of my friends. We watched her tattoo all night. Then the next day I called her. I was like, yeah, so can you teach me something? She was like, yeah, come by. So I came by her house. She gave me her machine, and I brought my little brother, and we tattooed. Actually my first tattoo was very clean. It was a 7 mile tattoo on the inside of his arm. Yeah, and it was clean. It's like to this day, it's very clean, and I'm impressed with it. So
That's
that after my
dope.
first tattoo, I was like, yeah, I'm ready.
That is dope.
Mm-hmm.
That's super dope. And ever since then, it's been history. You guys have gone on tour. I've
Mm-hmm.
actually heard her as well. So you said you got growing up, you were really into art. Who was your support system when you decided to take the route to become a tattoo artist? That's not something that, a lot of people be like, I think I want to do this. So who supported you and who did you confide in, and who were you leaning on during that time?
I would probably say, of course, I tell my parents everything. I'm very close with them. My mom really didn't understand it because she's more of like, she's a doctor, so she has that background. My
Right.
dad has an architectural degree,
Oh
so
wow.
he kind of relates to the art thing. So he was like, okay, they know I'm a very independent person, so whatever I say I'm gonna do, I'm gonna do it. So I mean, they could either like fall in line with it or not. But I mean, they kind of just let me do my thing. I mean, I was grown I started tattooing at 9. I wasn't grown, but I was of
Right.
age. So it was just very unfamiliar for women to get into it, and black women to get into it. It was a very unfamiliar thing. So they were just more nervous because, I mean, to be honest, I had to go back to the hood to get that experience, because
Right.
that's the hood that I grew up in, is where I started.
That's dope.
So I mean, I was familiar with the area, but it was just like, I don't know. It was just the tattoo scene was kind of a little bit more rough back then. So a
Right.
19-year-old girl going into that, I could
Right.
see why they would be a little bit nervous.
Yeah, that a lot of people, not even just your parents, a lot of people will be hesitant to get a tattoo from you. What would you say like prepared you to? I don't even know if you knew how many obstacles you would have to face being a black woman and a young black woman being a tattoo artist. So what do you
Right.
think kind of prepared you for that?
Um, I'm really very much a shark when it comes to like business and comes to what I want to do. So I really don't take no for an answer. So I think just my personality, period, suited the tattoo industry, because I'm very, very independent. I'm very driven, and I'm very, um, I'm not really about a whole lot of games, especially when it comes to business. So
Right.
it just fit me. Nobody intimidates me, and if somebody does intimidate me, I'm going to have them on my team somehow. So
Exactly. That's good. I like. See, I can see this. I was really like, I wonder what she's gonna be like. I watch things. I was like, I really can't wait to see what she's like. I want to see what her
yeah,
vibe is like. And it's so your face is so sweet, and you just look so innocent. And you're like, look, I'm coming. I ain't playing no games in this.
right.
So this is dope. I really love it. You even talked about I watched several times that you talk about branding yourself around your looks. How
Hmm.
like what inspired that, or how did you get to that point that you decided this is the route I'm going to take?
So, I mean, pretty much when you think about branding, it's about standing out, right?
Right.
So, like I said, back in the day, there wasn't a lot of female tattooers, black female tattooers, and there wasn't a lot of tattooers that really had like an extra feminine look. And I just happened to be around, like, I'm not a model, but I happen to be modeling for friends for, like, I do a lot of photographers, stylists, so I was already kind of in that mode anyways. So when I started tattooing, I merged the two. I merged the modeling aspect with the tattoo promotion aspect, and nobody was doing that, especially back then. So I mean, I took it and ran with it, and with my name standing out and my looks, I just kind of used it to my advantage.
I love that.
Yeah, I've always had kind of natural knack for branding, so I just had to figure it out what would work for me, and whatever I did worked because people remember it. So
I love that you talked about just the femininity in female tattoo artists, because you're right, they're not feminine.
Mm-hmm.
And I always get the vibe, always get either super sexualized, or I just kind of get like a masculine vibe. And you're like right in the middle. You're still very sexy as a woman, but you're not overly masculine, or you're not just like, it's all sex is what you So I love it. Is that, do you ever think that maybe that's a disadvantage sometimes? Do you ever think that growing up, or not necessarily growing up, coming into it, that because you didn't pick either or, that you kind of ran into more obstacles that way?
No, I don't really. I can't. I guess it's just my personality. I don't really look at many things as obstacles. It's all a mindset, because, I mean, I just enjoyed learning the craft. So whatever I came across that was an obstacle, I mean, I know how to adapt to situations. So I mean, whatever it is, I'm a quick learner. I'm very smart. So I just use what I know. And use my intuition to get through whatever I need to get through.
That's big. Intuition in this. Oh, that's a big thing. Intuition in the tattoo industry. What? How often do you rely on your intuition, actually, when you're doing business, and you're obviously you're still growing, because you're always going to be a learner, but you're pretty far established. How much do you lean on your intuition when you're doing work, or when you're taking clients?
Every moment of the day. Because, I mean, like I said, the tattoo industry is like, it's every day it's different. You don't really know what you're going to encounter, what kind of, and especially back then, especially when I tattooed on 7 Mile, 6 Mile, 8 Mile, it was more of a barter system. So you have to be quick on your toes, and you have to be able to gauge the client when they come in, and see if they're a spender, if they're just bullshitting you. I mean, there's a lot of different things that you have to gauge. And after years of every day doing that for 12 years straight, my intuition is spot on. If somebody walks in, I can just tell what they're on.
Right. Let's talk about that, the barter system. I spoke with someone a while back, and we talked about just a woman doing business with a man. And usually the number one thing is just sex. And there's always a different type of communication between a man and a woman, especially in business. And you mentioned about bartering. Can you elaborate on that for the people that's watching, what bartering is like? You're a young woman, you're tattooing, and you're in the hood essentially. So what is that? Elaborate on that for me. What is that like?
Well, back then it's a very intense situation, because the the tattoo scene back then was kind of a little bit behind. So people were just coming in trying to get anything for as cheap as possible.
Right.
You understand? So you have to get used to that element, which is, it's like a push and pull. And especially being a woman, either you are going to stand up for yourself, or you're going to get ran over. I mean, it's just really, really very simple. So that's what I taught my apprentice, and she's very good at that too. She already has that hustler's mentality as well. So that's the type of women that I surround myself with. And then the men that I surround myself with respect me. So they back me up with whatever I'm going to do. So it's just about demanding what you deserve at the end of the day.
So what was that transition like? You're coming out of, that's really important. You make some really good points. Just surrounding yourself around people that support you and uplift you. And as far as with the opposite sex, that they respect you. And it's not just, looking down on you because you're a woman in a male-dominated industry. So what is that transition like, coming from bartering to, this is what I'm worth, this is what I'm demanding, and you're moving up in your clientele, your price is moving up? How does that shift and that transition work for Krissy?
The shift and transition, really, especially with tattooing, because anxiety. It's high anxiety, high pressure type situation. So because we're doing permanent artwork on people,
Right.
so for young artists tattoo artists coming up, it's really about you'll know when you're ready to transition to just not bartering to strictly hourly or whatever your prices are going to be, because you'll go through a few mental breakdowns to get to that
Wow.
point.
What?
Because you'll take that one piece that you bartered for, and you took a little too much bartering, or was too cheap for the price, and you got to sit there for 8 hours tattooing this person.
Wow.
It'll hit you real quick.
Wow. That's you have to mentally prepare for those type of sessions. I'm sure you take breaks throughout them. Let's, because I have tattoos too. So let's kind of talk about that. How do you mentally prepare yourself to sit there for 8 hours? Obviously there's a break in between, but how do you maintain focus on what you're doing? It's easy to space out, even though you're physically doing that work and you know how important it is. How do you mentally prepare for those type of tattoo sessions?
I mean, in the morning, I have to have a lot of quiet time. I cannot do a whole lot of talking. I can't do a whole lot of much, because in my head, I'm getting ready for, giving all of my energy to this piece and to the client. So it's very quiet in the morning for me. I have my routine. I get up, I eat, sit in the silence and dark before I come in. Like, I literally have to be like a sniper or monk or something. I don't know. I can't explain it.
What?
Like, tattooers know this feeling. It's like you're gearing up, getting ready for just like a battle, not in a bad way, but it's just like you have to really be prepared. So over the years, like, because I'm about to be 32 on July 15th. Yeah,
you look good, girl. You don't look like it.
Thanks. But in my 20s, I was able to just party all night, get up, in the morning, do a 12-hour session, party the next night. But now I just can't do that. So I just have to I have to just guide my energy the right way. And then I got into yoga really heavy, so that helped me with the meditation aspect. So I had to really gear my life towards this higher elevated tattooing and artist life,
Wow, that's dope. I see a lot of people or a lot of people I think that are really good at their craft talk about how important meditation is and how important it is to just clear your head, to focus on what you want to do, One in particular is J. Cole. We kind of I'm gonna say we, like I talked to him.
Yeah.
He did an interview and he just talked about how he maybe not so much meditates, but he just takes the time to focus on what he's about to do. And he may not do anything the whole day, but just focus on what that new project is and how it helps him, just get in tune with himself. So that's dope to hear, because you are doing permanent work, and that stuff that's really important. I'd be mad if somebody misspelled perseverance or something.
Right.
Or something.
Right.
So moving forward, you're tattooing. You say you have a routine. You meet can we call Lady L your mentor? Is that safe to say?
Yeah. Well, I had a couple of mentors. Lady L was just the first one who gave me an in.
Right.
And then I tattooed on 7 Mile I did a formal apprenticeship on 7 Mile for I would say a year and a half. And then after that, I've had a couple of different, I learned from a lot of veterans in the business. So I was lucky because I shadow a lot of people who had really solid tattoo technique.
Right. How did you, so what is tattoo school like? I don't know. What is it? Tattoo school? How do you go about that?
Ain't no school. Still no school.
What?
It's very, it's still, I would still say it's still kind of an underground type of situation, because tattoo artists are very protective over their craft, because it takes a long time to perfect. And from the tattoo artist world, a lot of serious artists don't like people just trying to come in and use the craft for just money purposes, because it can be very fast money. But there's a lot of people who come into it just for that and not for the art part of it. So getting in, like I said, I just forced my way in. I mean, the first shop that I worked at, I started getting tattoos there, and I was spending a lot of money filling out the environment. That I just sprung it on like, hey, do you need an apprentice? Or it was really just that. And he actually rejected me at first.
Wow.
He already had an apprentice. So I was like, you know what? Whatever. I cried. And then I went home. At this point though, I was in my second year at Wayne State. So some of the guys that I knew ended up buying me a machine. Wow. And I started tattooing out of my apartment, and I kept bringing people back to the tattoo shop. Like, look, I'm doing this. He's like, oh, you serious? So he built me a little half booth in the corner. I didn't even have a real room.
Wow.
In the corner of the room, and I proceeded to seriously crank. Like, I just was motivated. I was getting so many customers just right off the bat because I was ready.
And that's important that, you know, I think a lot of times we want things and we're not prepared to get those things. But I think that when you, I don't want to say the universe, I'm going to say God. When you show God that you really want something, he puts you in those type of positions to get them. And you said you didn't even have a whole room, and he denied you the first time, but you put the work in, and he was like, got this little corner for you.
Sometimes that's what you got to do. I mean, I don't like no. So I'm going to find out a way to make it a yes.
I love that. I love that. So people are investing in you. They're buying you machines. You're getting this clientele. And do you see yourself as, I know that like I won't say I have the ability, but I know that in certain points in my life, I've been able to say, I know at this point I'm on an incline. Something is coming. I'm growing. Were you able to sit at that very moment and be like, it's coming. I can feel it coming. I'm just building right now. What was your mind like when you're getting these clients? You got this little corner. Where do you see yourself? Did you see yourself being on tour and being in Dutch's shop? Do you see yourself doing all these amazing things, or are you just building right now and focused?
I was just happy. I was just building. I knew it was going to be big just off of just how quick my name was getting out there. But it took a lot of hard work to get to that point. I really didn't even like the idea of traveling because it made me nervous, because I don't really like to switch up my environment. I'm very like a creature of habit. So when I tattoo, I have a certain like, you know,
flow you got
to my madness. Yeah. So, but then the touring presented itself. So of course I was like, yeah, I'm definitely on it.
And so you sit down, you talk with Lady L, and you sit down with the other women, and you guys decide on tour. What was that like? What was that experience? Let's talk about that. What was it like touring? Like you said, you gotta get out your environment.
So Lady L, she had always had that. We kept in contact throughout the years. You know, we just kind of, you know, seen each other, hung out every now and again, but we always kept in contact. And so she called me one day and told that she founded the Ladies of Ink. So she called me one day and she told me about this idea, and she asked me if I would be down. And I was like, yeah, whenever you're ready, I'm down. So she gave me the call, and I was like, well, time to pack up our bags. And she scouted all the talent. And tour is literally a rock star lifestyle. Like, I have so much respect for any rappers, any musicians that tour for real, because that right there takes energy.
So what is it? Are you guys are working what, 10 to 12 days? And
so
tell us about what that lifestyle is like.
When we first started touring, I think our first year was 2016, I believe. We would tour for a week and a half to 2 weeks at a time, and we would hit about 3 or 4 cities in that time span. But during the whole summer, we would probably hit anywhere from 10 to 12 cities.
Wow.
In a span of 3 months or 4 months, something like that. But we went hard, is what I'm saying.
That's a lot. That's a lot. How do you? So I think I'm really just big on mentally preparing for these things. How do you mentally prepare to get out of your comfort zone? You meet different people. You're doing different skin tones. So how do you prepare for this?
You just got to jump in.
You
just have to jump in. I mean, because you're never really prepared, because there's so many different elements and like people and clients. But what we do, we try to book prior so that we know that we have money coming in prior. Right. And then whatever else, you just gotta let that hustle kick in and just work it. Work the room, work the environment, and make it work for you pretty much.
I like that. I like this. So I've always been doing my research on you. I see that and I'm gonna say I love this, because I was actually just having a conversation with my friend about tattoos and about, as dark as I am, getting color ink. I had seen a meme on Facebook of a darker, I think she was like darker complexion. The ink was just crazy looking, and I was like searching the comments to find out why it looked like that. And we were talking about color ink on darker complexions, but I've seen that that's something that you're really big on. You're really big about educating people on darker complexion or just people of color tattoos. Why was that something that stood out so strongly to you?
Just because in the beginning of my career, I mean, a lot of artists who aren't Black or artists of color are nervous to tattoo on darker skin tones, because I mean, the simplest way to put it is when you tattoo on very, very light or white skin tones, it's very easy to tattoo it. It doesn't fight the ink. But our people of color, we have melanin in our skin. So it naturally protects from a foreign object, and ink is a foreign object in the skin. So it takes a little bit longer. It takes a different type of, set of skills to do it in an effective way. So if you're not used to tattooing on brown skin or darker skin tones, I can see how it would be nerve-wracking for people. But that's what I came up on. I tattooed on all forms of darker skin or brown skin before I even tattooed white skin. So, and it's just that skin tone, and talking about skin tones in America or in anywhere is always a racially,
very sensitive.
It's always a racially,
very sensitive.
Sensitive topic for people. So it's just naturally, this is just a sensitive topic for a lot of people.
Right.
So I understand, but it's like, I feel like all artists should learn, but I mean, if they don't want to, I mean, don't go to them.
Right. I agree with you. I thought that was dope that you talked about. I think I watched like a couple of YouTube videos or something, and you talked about just tattooing on darker skin. And it was I think the way this conversation came up with my friend was about laser hair removal. And I was saying that because she's a lot lighter than me, and I was saying, I think you can get it because you're lighter, but I think I'd have to find someone who has a certain light for my complexion because it has a hard time distinguishing between my hair and my skin. And she was like, I didn't know that, but she was aware about how I think we were talking about how darker skin may reject the ink from a tattoo. And I was like, wow, that's I was like, I want to talk about this with Krissy. Like, have you those type of situations can obviously be frustrating, even with you, even though that's something that I would say you specialize in.
Yeah.
How did you overcome that? Or when did you start to try to figure out that, okay, this might give me an issue? Or is that something that you just gradually picked up on and adjusted to?
I mean, just from talking to clients, it's really just best. First of all, the client has to be open to my suggestions because I'm a professional. If they're not, and they just want to see it the way they want to see it, then this situation is not going to turn out good for anybody. So they first have to understand that I'm a professional and I've been doing this for multiple years and I know the outcome. But I mean, some people have it stuck in their mind, this is what they want to do. But the thing is, what a lot of tattoo artists have a hard time with, people will research these pictures on Google, and the picture that they have does not match what their skin tone is. So they'll come with a picture with all these, extra colors on this very, very light white skin, and then be like, well, I want this. I'm like, I mean, it has to be molded to fit you specifically.
I agree with you. I think that's what a lot of things, that it's funny that you said that. It's crazy because I've just been looking at, this is so random, nail pictures. A lot of the nails that people get done, they're on lighter complexion skin. Yeah. And I'm like, that's kind of crazy because you'll bring these pictures and you're like, I want this, but it doesn't necessarily match your skin. So you have to make it tailored to that. We did get a question here. We said, what is the process for doing a cover up consult? So
cover ups is something that I don't like to do at all. Please, everybody, do not ask me. I am not the one, but I have done them every now and again. But the best way to get cover-ups, you have to come into the shop and talk to some of my artists, or me. Well, I probably won't do it, but some of my artists, we have to see the piece that you're trying to cover in person, and then we have to suggest what we think would work best for you. You know what I'm saying? Because cover-ups is a totally different process from just fresh skin, because you literally have to change one image into another completely different image.
Right.
So cover-ups take whatever you have, you need to cover it up with something double or triple the size, and that's it. People like to try to fight that. Ain't no fighting it. If you're coming to get a cover up, just go with it.
Wow. So typically, does that hurt to go over skin that's already been tattooed? Does that hurt, or does it just kind of depend on how long you've already had it?
It really depends. I mean, I guess if the original tattoo is scarred, it might hurt a little bit more.
Okay.
But if not, I mean, the main thing that will hurt is just that you're sitting for so long.
Right, because it has to be big to cover that up. Okay.
Yeah.
That was just a random question. I just wondering about that. So I also did read that you at some point understood that you needed to become more financially responsible, and you started offering those classes for self-employed people, for entrepreneurs or whatever, and for tattoo artists. Tell me about that. Why was that so important for you to do?
That was so important because I think around 25 or 26 is when my parents started asking me questions. They're like, listen, you're working this hard. Do you know how much money you're bringing in? Do you even know how much your money you're spending? And I sat there like, yeah, I really don't even know. Like it didn't even dawn on me because just the artist lifestyle, specifically tattoo artist lifestyle, is very fast. It's very day by day type situation. Like tattoo artists are insane, like in a good way and a bad way sometimes, but it's very, very fast paced. So it's like get into the shop, tattoo for 12 hours, get out, go to the strip club for another 4 hours, get out, go, get 2 hours of sleep and do it all over again. This is literally what I did all of my 20s, was like fast paced, and I was making fast money, but especially back then it was more cash based.
Right.
I would put it in my pocket, I would go blow it at a party and do it all over again. So when it came to the point where I had to really start adulting and investing, I didn't have my taxes straight. I didn't know how much I was making every year. So I really had to get serious. I'm like, what am I trying to do in my life as I get older? How can I be more stable? So these are questions that I started to ask myself, and I had to get my shit together. So, I mean, at 25, I had ended up getting my very first apartment on my own, by myself. And so I just hustled every day for a year. And at the end of that year, I bought a house. So, but during that year, I had to stack. I had to get my taxes straight. I had to get my credit straight. So it was just something that I had to really dive into, because a lot of tattooers that were older than me weren't even doing any of that.
Wow.
So where the classes came from is I was talking to the financial advisor, Lauren. He's really, really good. Just about like why self-employed and why creatives aren't thinking about this. It's just not something that we're taught.
Right.
We're just taught to live day by day. So I was like, hey, let's just offer these classes for free and just see what happens. And people started coming and learning. We would just learn together. It was just more like an open talk about how the self-employed and career, how we should mold our lives, because there's no blueprint to this. I mean, it's just trial and error. But if we're able to have these open conversations, we can all help each other.
I agree with you. I think that when it comes to business and when people build their businesses, that's kind of like a secret. Like, I don't want to talk about my money or what I got going on. And it's like, I think we already born with 2 strikes. You already black, so that's the problem. So you really ain't got that much money, depending on where you're coming from. And then you're male or female, and then that's another strike. So I think that when you have these conversations, we pour into each other and tend to, try to build each other up, and we may be more successful because of those conversations. Because I know I've seen a ton of entrepreneurs say, I didn't blow so much money and I don't know where it went. And it's like, if we would have just talked about that, we could have learned from that. I remember the first time before I dissolved my t-shirt company, a black person didn't tell me about the taxes. A white woman that I was actually going through getting my shirt or getting my transfers done through told me about. She was like, these are the things you can write off on your taxes. And I was like, yo, nobody ever told me this.
Exactly.
It's insane how we keep those things to ourselves. And it's like, you're not gonna lose no money or make no more money if you just help me out about my taxes or just telling me, financial tips. So I mean, I didn't go to the class, but I appreciate you having the class, and I'm thankful because we don't talk about this. Such a secret. It's like,
it's such a secret. And the thing about people, everybody wants to be wealthy, but nobody really wants to assert the discipline that it takes to do that. People need to understand it's levels to this shit. It's levels to getting wealthy. It's levels to being financially stable. If you don't complete level 1, you're not getting to level 2. Nobody says.
Nope.
There's no getting around any of these to a certain level, because the system is built that it's made that way. If you don't have point A, you're not going to get to point B. So
you got to talk to people who've been there to do it. You can ask people that doesn't know what that tax bracket looks like, that don't know what that type of money looks like, or just not familiar with the process at all. You got to reach out to people. How important was it for you? Like, did you even talk to anybody about the financial part? I know you said that people around you or veterans weren't doing what you were doing. How did you kind of or did you just talk to your financial counselor?
I talked a lot. I didn't really have any financial advisors. I talked to my mom and dad a lot, but they can only tell me so much because, I mean, my dad had his own business, but it was construction. Nobody was really familiar about the tattoo because it's just such a very interesting, niche market. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's very, I don't know. It's just, I don't know.
Different.
Not a lot of different. So what I started doing, I just started going into the bank and just having conversations with the tellers. I was like, listen, I need to learn this. And then when the process to get my house, I had to speak to them. I was like, what do I need to prove to y'all, that, because when they look at self-employed and they see these large amounts of money going into your bank account, I was getting flagged. Anything over $1,000 that I was dumping into there, they would circle it, and I would have to write a paragraph on how I made it, why I made it. Pretty much, they look at you as like a drug dealer or something, because they're not understanding how you're making this much money as an artist, because people don't think that artists are thriving. Still that starving artist like mentality that people have, but it's not that at all. It's completely opposite, actually.
I believe you. I think that Instagram has really brought that starving mentality kind of to the light and kind of destroyed it, because you see people with you see people with no degrees that are social media marketers that are making more than people with degrees, and they're still trying to push this, an art degree won't make you money. And I say it really depends on who you talk to and who you know, because trust me, I know some with some bachelors that ain't doing what these social media marketers doing. So yeah, that starving artist mentality is definitely kind of starting to sweep that under the rug, because it's not true anymore.
It's not.
So moving forward, you doing these classes, you've done the tour. I want to talk about Nipsey, because I was looking at I forgot what I was watching, but I saw that you're a really big fan of Nipsey. You were rocking with Nipsey literally around the same. Yes, a lot, like back in, I think it's like 2013, 2014. You were rocking with Nipsey. So I was like, yo, I thought I was the only person that that really knew about him. How hard did his death affect you? I know that had to be kind of hard for you.
It was pretty tough. I remember I was riding around with my boyfriend at the time, and we were driving to get ice cream or something. And then he was looking on his phone. He like, yo, is this real? And I'm like, what? And it was like the Nipsey shot. I was like, no, it can't be real. It can't be real. I was like, and we found out it was real. I was like, this is tough. Like, it hit me because, like you said, I had been following his music and just everything about him for so long. And it was just like, wow, it was kind of like I was in disbelief, because somebody so positive. He wasn't one that was like trying to be hard, or, you know what I'm saying? He was more coming from a positive, build a positive Black mentality, Black family mentality, and for him to die was just it was really intense.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that I literally remember, like, I've been following Nipsey around the same time we were, like, in 2014, and I remember I forgot, there used to be a website you could chop songs up, and I used to chop the songs up and only keep Nipsey's part. So I was really like following him years before, and then somehow I lost track or whatever. But I remember sitting down and I was like scratching my head like, yo, Nipsey got shot. And I remember it hitting me like, hold on, they just shot him. And I remember, like, moments later, TMZ breaking, he's dead. And I was like, what the fuck? How is this possible? And it's like, I feel like I had the similar reaction to Kobe. My sister called me and I was like, you fucking dumb. Do you know who Kobe is? Like, what are you talking about? And my sister's like, he's a person. He can die too. And I'm like, you know what? You're stupid. You don't know what she's saying. And broke that, Kobe did too. And it's like, yo, this is
but that shows you that life is so short. So
too short.
I just feel like everybody should. I was fortunate to be able to follow my passion young, or just have that drive, and I didn't care what anybody really thought. So I think everybody, if possible, should try to live that way. Do everything that you feel like you want to do. Follow your dreams, because tomorrow really isn't promised. You never know. So you have to just live in your truth and just go for it, because it's scary, but what's even scarier is getting to the end of your life and realizing that you couldn't do that.
that is crazy. I met a guy coming out the library, because originally, before we hit the pandemic, I was doing Let's Talk in the library, and a guy was taking pictures of me, and I was a little freaked out or whatever. So I approached him about it, and he's like, I just started photography. And I go, well, why you take so long? He goes, because my friends talked me out of it when I was 17.
He got the wrong circle of friends.
Man, he's like 60 years old. I'm like, you've been a creep, but I'm just saying, you could have, been so far along. We're going to go, I want to talk to you about Pretty in Pink. You tattooed in Pretty in Pink. What was that experience like? Talk to me. That's huge. What was that like for you?
Oh, it was great. So the Ladies of Ink, we're very connected to we've known a lot of the artists on all the Black Ink shows before they were even on Black Ink.
Wow.
So it was only natural when we started the tour that we were going to hit their spots because they're very cool people. Their environment is, Dutch's shop is really nice. It's just great vibes. Like, you know, she has her and a few other female artists too. So it's only natural that we go down there and link up.
Right.
It's always a good time when we link up with her. And yeah, it's just, you know, female artists unite. I mean,
right.
That's what the vibe is. That's the whole point of the tour.
Right. I like that. What was it? What were some things that you kind of took away from, you know, sitting down with them? I know Duchess has been doing it. She's probably been doing at least 15 years, I want to say at the least. So what were some things that you kind of took away watching different artists when you guys were on tour?
I mean, I really like to watch how they I like to see their environment, how they interact with their clients. I like to see what types of artwork, like tattoo work they're doing in their area, because every area is different. Every area has a certain style and a certain technique that they kind of use, you know what I mean? So I like to vibe off that. Of course, we go out. My favorite part, I like to eat. They take us out to restaurants, so I like to see what the local cuisine is about. Like, it's so much about that I love about traveling other than just the tattoo part. It's just like you get to see different cultures, you know?
I'm a fan of that. You do a lot of, I see that even on your page, traveling is a highlight. Like,
oh yeah.
So give me your top. So we're gonna go down. Like, we're gonna get to know Krissy a little bit better here. Yeah. So give me your top 3 places that you have visited that you will definitely go back to.
My top 3 places are definitely Thailand. I would say Jamaica. What's another one? Bali.
I've always seen the pictures. That looks so
Bali's good. Mexico's really nice. I've been to a lot of places, actually.
I've seen that. I've been following. I've just been lurking like, oh, it looks like she has so much fun.
Yeah.
I've just been following, and I even saw that it was a highlight, so I know that it's something that you love to do. I know that with this type of, you're an entrepreneur, so you have the freedom to take this time. You don't have to request, you know, time off. You know, what would you say to young female artists coming up? Because you're big. It's clear that you're very big on women empowerment and women in male-dominated industries. What would you say to a young female artist coming up that, you know, that looks up to Krissy?
Ooh. It's a road. It's a road. I mean, I always joke around and say to a lot of any female artist that comes to me, I'm like, listen, you're going to have to, excuse my language, you're going to have to grab your imaginary balls and you have to hold them tight, because literally you have to assert your dominance. Like,
yeah,
you come in and yeah, you can be pretty, but just don't let people use that to their advantage. Use it to your advantage. You are in control of your environment. You're in control of what you're going to take. You have to establish your boundaries as a female anyways in this world. A Black woman anyways has to establish their boundaries walking around every day. So the tattoo industry isn't any different. So I would say they have to establish their boundaries. They need to be clear in what their end goal is, you know? Focus on the art. If you're going to date, I would say be very selective. Date people who add to your situation and don't subtract from your situation, because a lot of people are intimidated by this lifestyle, because like women are very independent in this lifestyle and they can do whatever they want. They don't have to have anybody. They don't need anybody. It's about you add somebody that you want to your situation, not, you know, don't be needy. You know, whatever's meant for you will come.
I like that. Speaking of that, we're gonna just go back a little here. What is dating like for Krissy in this time? You've been in the game 12 years.
Yeah.
You're not new to this. You're very true to this. So what has dating been like throughout this process? Do you worry about being used, or guys wanted to, I date Krissy? Like, how do you worry about that?
Yeah, I mean, it's a thought in the back of my mind, because I'm a very private person though. So when it comes to my dating life, I do try to keep it separate from my work life as much as possible, because blending those two is not beneficial at all. I don't care what nobody says, it's just not going to be beneficial. So really, the 20s, I mean, we're gonna leave the 20s. I mean, that's a lot of like, it's kind of blurry. I don't know.
Nobody even counts those years.
It's fun years, but it's just a lot of learning. Like I have to learn what type of man was for me. And know now what type of man is for me is somebody who's self-sufficient and has their own stuff going for them, because if they don't, they're going to be constantly worried about what the hell I'm doing, and I do not have time for that. So it has to be more of, it just has to be I'm a very powerful personality, and I understand that. So I know that whoever that I attract has to be equally as powerful as me mentally, you know?
I love that.
So,
I love that you said, I love that you see you're powerful. I love that you talk about establishing boundaries, because I think a lot of times women kind of shrink themselves. They shrink themselves to be in these environments to fit. And it's like, you're not wrong for standing up and being dominant the way you should be, because you deserve that. And you have to. So I love that. And I can tell that you shifted to learn that I can be like this and I can still be myself and I don't have to change. How did you asserting your dominance and, you know, and making sure, well, you said you're not intimidated anyway, but how did you not change yourself to fit your environment? How did you stay strong? Where did those type of traits come from? Or how did you learn that?
oh shoot, I really learned that from the women that raised me and my dad. I have a lot of men in my life too. So just my family was very they're very protective of me, but still allow me to be who I am. But I know they're one call away at any moment. So yeah, I mean, I just have a really strong backbone, and I'm just a strong-minded individual. But I definitely, as far as dating goes, and just being in the industry, period, I just had to speak up. Like, if it was something that I was very passionate about, I just made sure to do it in a way that wasn't disrespectful. I still come at people with respect, but I learned that keeping the ego to the side, just having just real communicate, learning how to communicate. Like, just say what you mean what you say, and just say it.
I love that. I just love that. I think a lot of people think that so I mean, I see a lot of memes. That's why I keep referencing these damn things. A meme said that people that don't know how to communicate think that direct communication is aggressive. And it's like, well, that's unfortunate, because if I tell you how I feel, there's no room for misinterpretation. I'm giving you exactly what I want. There's no way to go around there or say, you know, that's not what I said. So I really love that. I want to get to know you a little better. So give me, let's see. I'll give you mine. Give me a top 5 artists right now. Who are you listening to? Who's on Krissy's playlist right now?
I'm an R&B fanatic, so I'm gonna definitely say Brent Faiyaz is my number one.
You know something.
Canceled that concert because I cried inside. Like, what? I was gonna be.
You know something. I love that man.
He's my number one. I would say. See, I like old school music too, so I love Marvin Gaye.
Big fan.
I love. Who else do I love? Like, that's recent. Ooh, this is a tough one. I mean, definitely I would say SZA, Summer Walker, you know, any R&B, Janae Aiko.
I love her.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm more into R&B, so that's like my favorite.
Mine's I've been playing. I'm a big fan of Lil Baby. He's growing on me.
Oh yeah.
Big fan for people that's just like, that's not who people think they are. So I'm Lil Baby on top right now. Who I got? I got some guy called 1111. That's some new guy I found. Yeah, I know. Girl's good.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know, but he got some bangers. Michi So Crazy.
Okay.
I think I got that from this guy on my Facebook. I think he posted him. Who else? I got Bill Withers, Lovely Day playing. I've been having that on repeat for the last couple of days. I love Bill. I love that man. And then my last one, who I got? Mary J. Blige.
Okay.
Mary J. Blige on my repeat. Let's do, before we go, give me your top 3. I love Black cinema. I love him. So let's do your top 3 Black cinema.
Oh, only 3?
Yeah, only 3.
Okay. I'm going to have to say Love Jones.
Oh, you know, I like you.
Okay.
I like you.
I'm going to have to say Love Jones. I'm going to have to say, can we do shows?
Oh, yeah. Good.
I'm going to have to say Insecure.
Really? I do not watch that.
What?
I don't watch.
Oh.
I gotta catch up. Everybody says it's good.
Let's see, what other movie? I would have to say The Wood. That's my favorite.
Fire.
Yeah, so those 3.
The Wood is fire. All right, so my top 3. But I'm glad you said shows. I can have some shows in there. My number 1. I just watched the intro to Belly. Man,
Ooh,
I need somebody to reach. Man. That intro, I don't care what. I think we need like a black fashion show or something.
Right.
Let the intro be Belly, because that is so fire. So my number 1 coming in at Belly. Number 2 is gonna be Girlfriends, because I love that show. I just love Girlfriends. And then my number 3, Black Lightning. That's what I've been watching. I've been binge
Okay.
watching Black Lightning. So that's gonna be my number 3, Black cinema.
Good.
But before we go, we like to start with something we're grateful for and end with something that we're grateful for. So you can kick it off for me, Krissy. What's something else that you're grateful for?
Something else that I'm grateful for. Ooh. I'm grateful for genuine support in my life. I'm grateful for people who are there to have those tough conversations when I'm not really the most secure in myself.
That's dope. Yeah, look. I like that. I think that's really dope. Vulnerability with people around you. That's important. And I think it really shows the character of the people that's around you. And a lot of people got to get those type of people around them. You need them people in your life. I'm going to kick it off. What am I grateful for? I'm grateful to be self-aware. I think that I'm really good about checking myself about a lot of things, you know, especially when I think I'm wrong. I'm really big on like, damn, did I fuck up? Like I will, if I fuck up somewhere, I'm bound. I don't care if it was 2 hours away. I might fuck around and drive back just to be like, you know what? I'm so sorry. I apologize. I was wrong. So I think
that's good because that helps with growth. If you're more self-aware, you'll get further in life. You're able to check yourself first before you check other people.
Yeah. So I think I just cussed out Lydia CBS so bad. She was rude to me first, but I kind of felt like I don't know. Anyway, that's not it.
That's back then. You know, from the past.
Not even matter, guys. But Krissy, I want to thank you for joining us on Let's Talk. I really had a good time with you, and you are just a ball of fun, and you're so sweet. So thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
As always, guys, my name is Cherrell. I'm the host of Let's Talk, and this ain't a podcast. Bye. Bye.